Hello world, what's going on? Roger Drakes here, Sotheby's International Realty. Just jumping up to say hi real quickly. As you know how it goes in PR and sales, it's video. So just want to make sure I keep consistent with my posts. Today I want to talk about client expectations and managing relationships with clients during and even not during transaction and business deals. So, clients, how to manage client relationships. Now, the transactions I've done so far, I've done quite a few now. I'm proud. Check my Zillow if you want to know the number count. Basically, each and every scenario, I found that the relationship between myself and the client has been kind of stretched to a point of where it could explode and all go south and everything go bad. So I've been learning as I've been going along how to kind of deal with we call it like the inner 5-year-old that comes out of buyers and sellers when they're involved in a real estate transaction, which I fully understand because it's such a huge undertaking that they're going through, whether they're buying and putting a load of money and time and energy into a project, or whether they're selling and parting and having to tear themselves away from something that's very, very emotional in their lives. So that inner 5-year-old is consistent. It always appears at some point during the transaction where it's almost like they just turn into the child who's thrown the toys out of the pram and things just get very hairy. And at that point, the relationship is always stretched, and it takes a lot of patience and time, which is my speciality. Of course, I'm very patient, very calm. And I've had scenarios where I've had to just fall back a little bit from clients and kind of let them breathe and realize that I'm there for their best interest. It's a fully committed service-based relationship, and I'm just there to give and get the deal done. The rewards follow, the rewards follow good service. The rewards always follow good work, good product, good effort. So I never sweat the work involved in getting to the finish line with the client. So the reason I'm talking about this is because, as I said, I have a couple of deals right now which are definitely like that, and almost every previous one has been like that as well, selling homes where it's boiled down to 2-hour conversations and tears and all kinds of stuff, just literally to get an offer accepted or to get to get through an escrow period smoothly, that kind of stuff. So this is kind of like for agents and clients as well. This video, I'm just basically breaking down a few of the different things that we can do to avoid rough relationships, and hopefully you can come out at the end of your deal with a better relationship with the client than you had at the beginning. Like, them better, you've been through it together, you've been through the war as such, and the relationship's intact. Because as I always say to clients, when these transactions are dead and gone and way in the past, 20 years in the past and everything, we're going to forget about all that. We're going to forget about the money, the stuff, the furniture, the house, the building, the inspection, the escrow. We're going to forget about all of that and just remember this person and how they made you feel during that period. So, with that being said, here's a few tips real quick on what we can do as agents and clients as well to not fall into the stressed relationships during transactions. Tip number 1 is fairly simple, and that is be completely upfront and honest about your goals and intentions from the very beginning. As an agent, I always make sure I lay everything out, a 10-point plan, all the numbers included. I always make sure I get my net figures to my clients as well. Let people know the bottom line from the beginning, so therefore there's no late surprises and there's no disappointment, hopefully. I always work conservatively with the numbers, make sure I'm honest about what I can achieve. I've never listed a property that was overpriced before, and I really won't do it unless there's a special kind of circumstance, but I really wouldn't do it. I see properties a lot come on the market, like from the high-end ones to the multi-million-dollar ones to even the low-end ones, like 1.2 million ones, which is low-end in California, which is crazy, but that's another story. Even those ones, I see sometimes they're listed and they're just so out of pocket as far as the price point. And I know that the agent probably did it just to get the listing, then they're going to go back because they have it under contract, they can then go back later on to the owner and say, hey, it's not working, let's reduce it. So the most I would probably do in that scenario is maybe list the property, but have it written into the agreement that we are going to reduce if it doesn't sell. We'll try your way, but if it doesn't work out your way in a certain amount of time, a short time period, then we're going to go my way, maybe 30 days or something. And even that can kind of definitely hurt your bottom line, what you receive as a seller, because you come out there too high and then you're pedaling backwards as such. So that's a tip. That's my first tip. Always be upfront with all your numbers, everything you plan to do. Make sure you deliver on every promise. Therefore, if things get stretched and things change later on, it's not you that's changing. It's more the client, and they're changing stuff and they're changing the goalposts. Therefore, you can, without rubbing their face in it, you can say, well, this is what I was working towards, and I showed that to you, and I've done my bit to the best of my ability. And that's not as in a way that, you just want to protect yourself to prove them wrong. It's more a case of you just want to be solid and firm and deliver on everything you say so that they can come to their senses, hopefully, or not lose their mind, whichever one, in the shortest amount of time. So that's one tip. The second tip, real quick, I think I'm just going to do 3, keep it short and sweet, because it's not that complicated in the realms of like normal behavior, but obviously, as I said, because of the emotions of transactions, things are rarely normal. So the second tip would be to make sure you and the client have a rapport that goes beyond real estate. I'm kind of thinking of these on the fly, but this is a very, very good one that just came to me. And basically, as an agent, like I said, it's a transaction, it's a business deal, it's a property, you're helping them reach a goal, and it's a huge, huge thing in their life and your life too as well, because obviously it's your career. But it's always good to make sure that you and your clients have a relationship, whereas it's not just about money. It never should be. It should be more of a I see you as a great human being, whether you like them or not. They're still a great human being, and you want to service their needs, and you want to make sure that they're happy within it. You want to know that they're doing okay in life. Their health is good. I recently had one scenario where I had a listing more or less guaranteed because me and the person had a great rapport, and unfortunately they left us. They flew. They passed. And then the listing, because I didn't have a relationship with the family members and the estate people, the listing went to another agent. And in those scenarios, I didn't feel at all bad about losing the listing. Everything just immediately went to, oh my goodness, this person, man, prayers and for the family were hurting right now, and I'd met one of the daughters of the person, and I sent messages to them saying, hey, sorry for your loss and everything. So with that being said, it's really good to focus on the human part of what we do. Yes, it's relationship based, and it's about smooching and knowing as many people as possible, because of, as you know, that's real estate. You have to get your sales right to make what you would like to make as a career. But ultimately, you have to remember it's all humans involved, and you want to have a heart connection with everybody, and be able to inspire people in more ways than just what you bring as a business person, but just as a good human being, man to man, woman to woman, man to woman. When you're working with somebody on a deal, trust me, there's going to be so much conversations and so much time you have together. You might go out for a drink or for a meal or whatever. So therefore, you're going to have loads of opportunity to just be better than just a realtor. Okay, here's a good one. Tip number 3, make sure you never run out of enthusiasm and energy to do what's right and do what's good and really, really deliver. For example, I have a scenario where I have a client who I call loosely a client because we only met once, but we've spoken several times, and it's been 4 years. And I know this client really, really wants to buy. She's in a good position to buy. She has things going on. I know she's going to buy sooner or later, but it's been 4 years that we've been talking, communicating. We've seen your property. I've sent her a few properties, whatever. And My point is, never lose energy. There's another deeper word. It says never let your countenance fall. Never let your head drop and be down, and make sure you stay refreshed and enthusiastic and energized for everything you're doing. Now, obviously, this only works if you really love the job. So that's a whole nother video. You know, there's so many realtors that I'm pretty sure are just doing it because they heard you can make some good money easily. That's probably the usual one. Or they hear that there's a glam and glitz side to it, you know, which is mostly from shows that are reality but not really real. Those kind of things. But the bottom line is, if you're not really loving the job from day to day, real estate, photography, structure, architecture, interiors, textures, fabrics, building, creation. When I say creation, I'm talking about, you know, building creation and stuff like that. If you're not really in love with that whole process, and you generally like homes, then yeah, you're probably not gonna last that long. Or if things get tough, you'll be more likely to fall off and say, do something else. Especially when you have second careers. I know loads of agents, God bless them, because of, you know, for some time I've always had a music background, so I'm not tripping on someone having a second career at all. But I'm just saying, if that is your priority and that's what you see as your future, then your real estate thing may not be a long-term thing for you, or it may not last. You know, if a recession comes, or the market changes and it gets harder for whatever reason, you know, because of, I'll say this with all my heart, it takes 100% fight and battle to make it work as an agent. Not in just this market, in any market, you know, anywhere you are, because of, one, there's a lot of competition, and two, you have to really deliver. You have to be good, and you have to leave a really good trail behind you of interactions and transactions in order to build up a rep, in order to build a business. You know, I mean, anyone can sell 1 or 2 homes a year, but to make it a business of flowing transactions, 10, 15 homes a year, which I'm still not at, but I'm on my way, that takes leaving almost like a perfect track record everywhere you go until it builds. I don't know if you've noticed, as agents, this one's for the agents. If you look online and you check like stats on what agents do, and you follow all the big agents, you'll notice that most of the big agents, nearly probably 90% of the agents that do, like, you know, 20-30 mil in sales a year, have been doing it for 15 years, 12-15 years. A lot of them have pretty old licenses and they've been around. So that's just a great indication of how much work and tenacity and fight and you know, it takes not to fall off, and to actually get through and build a career out of it, so you can support yourself and support your family. Fight and deliver and leave a perfect trail everywhere you go, which is difficult because obviously you're going to make mistakes. There's a lot into real estate. It's way more than just whacking a house on the MLS and hoping it sells. You got to be on your follow-up, you got to be on your calls, you have got to have a database you follow up, and then you have to understand the contracts so that you don't end up in jail or land your client in jail, or both of you end up in jail sharing a cell, that kind of scenario. So there's a lot to it. Consistent studying. I watch at least 1 hour-long video, or read something for 35 minutes. I don't read that long because I find it really boring, but every day, more or less, at least 5 days a week or 6 days a week on real estate, following the best mentors and tutors and teachers of the game, old and new. And then, you know, and then of course stay up on current changes like interest rates and things of that nature, so you know what's happening in the market. But the point is just to basically, as agents, for your clients, put yourself last, put them first all times. The money will follow. Make sure you stay up on everything you need to stay up on, know exactly what's going on in your market and also in other markets. Basically, there was this thing and there is this thing about being an area specialist, and I do pride myself on being South Valley. I call it South Valley. I have a website for the South Valley Facebook and whatever, and I do pride myself on knowing North Hollywood, Toluca Lake, Valley Village, Studio City, Valley Glen, etc. But I will say this: you don't have to be an area specialist to do a great campaign in an area you don't know, and also it's all about marketing and presentation and social media and internet presence as well. So therefore, if you get a listing that's far, take it. Go for it. Don't turn down anything. Make sure you're working. Make sure you're closing. Always closing. If you're not closing, you're not eating. I have a listing right now 75 miles away from where I live. I have a super lot box and did all the groundwork, and I've been working with agents up in the area, making sure it's showing, and that's that. And you know, it's not in escrow yet, but it's not any different to the things I've sold directly in my pocket and my specialist neighborhood. I've learned a lot about a new area. It's not difficult, it's not rocket science. So just to get out of that point real quickly, basically be of service to all your clients, all your people, and wherever they want to go with them and do great jobs. And that's it really. Yeah, I'll recap all the points on the video right here so that you can see what they are. And make sure you hit me up if you're a client looking to sell a property in Los Angeles, anywhere. I've been doing this, I'm actually approaching 5 years now as well. So NAR stats say that 87% of agents, or it could be higher now, quit within 5 years. So I'm just basically trying to re-up on all my business energy and business endeavors and efforts to make sure that I last and stay the course, because next year there promises to be a lot of changes in the game as far as finances and financially and what's going on in the market. So I'm looking forward to it because I'm going to be here. All right, so with that being said, peace out.